Stephen Lawrence. There's a name I think you'll all recognise. The 18-year-old who was brutally murdered in a racist attack in South London in 1993. You may think you know the full story, but over the next few minutes I want to tell you something about Stephen and about his legacy, which I think will surprise you. And this time, it's a story with a really happy outcome. Like me, Stephen had a great love of buildings, and his ambition was to be an architect, something he decided when he was only 7. This wasn't just a pipe dream. He excelled at art and maths, even getting himself a placement at a big London architecture firm. Stephen's murder put paid to those dreams. But his family wanted to do something in his memory which was positive, which would help other young people like him. So they set up the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust. Now the trust is there to provide help and support for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds, people who want to become professionals, like architects. Just like Stephen Lawrence, Lisa Basu had a clear idea of what she wanted to do with her life from a young age.
I was really fascinated by buildings in London that I really admired. I was adamant that I wanted to become an architect.
But given her disadvantaged background, Lisa's dream wasn't going to be easy to realise.
My family, they were really discouraging of the fact that I'd had to go on a course that was 7 years and I'll have to accumulate however much debt to finish it, because they were not in a position to actually pay for me or help me.
Lisa was determined to pursue her dream and worked hard to secure a place at university, but the particular expense of studying architecture began to take its toll.
I really struggled financially to support myself through university. I actually was in a situation where I couldn't afford materials for my models and was using pizza boxes. I was actually concentrating on the amount of debt that I had and worrying about that. It was tough, and there was moments when I thought that I needed to walk away. I found it very frustrating because I knew it would be something that I'd regret for the rest of my life if I didn't finish the course.
Lisa still had another 4 years of study before qualifying. Without anyone to support her, she didn't know how she could afford to continue. Fortunately, she heard about the trust and applied for a bursary to support the cost of study.
When I first received the bursary award, I was actually quite in shock, and I was just thinking I can make that model now that I've always wanted to make and spend the money on it and pay my rent, and I could actually be a qualified architect. That money helped me complete the course.
Lisa now supports herself and works in a big London architectural practice, and she's one of many who the Trust have helped into the profession, overcoming the barriers of their background.
I think it's really vital. We have a diverse workforce. The Trust symbolises hope for a lot of people that want to do architecture as a profession.
I've come to the Trust HQ to talk to Stephen's mother, Doreen, about what she wants to achieve in the future. So where do you want to be then in say 5 years' time? Because you've helped so many people into architecture.
Exactly.
And what you're saying is you'd like to be 5 years from now in a similar position with, I don't know...
journalism.
Yeah, okay, and the law?
And the law. If you take architectural practice for a start, I think when we first started, they said there was less than 2% of architects who were black. And since we've started, we've done extremely well with our bursary student and how many of them is qualified and into work. And other professions, especially when it comes to diversity, they're still lagging behind.
It's a lot of work for you, isn't it? It's not just a case of just writing a check and saying, there you go.
It's something, there's some things you don't see as work because it's something that you want to do. So it's an enjoyment. We're here as a catalyst so that we can support them in whatever profession that they want to go into.
None of us chooses where we're born and raised, but it can have such an influence on our chances in life, as North Londoner Eniola Ashawalu knows well.
The neighbourhood, it wasn't great. There was a lot of violence, and one didn't have much choice, should I say. It was either joining a gang or being a victim of some sort of gang-related activities. There was a huge limitation of how far you could see ahead, and I was like, surely there is a way out of this. You don't have to succumb to it.
Eniola's big ambition was to become a corporate lawyer. He studied hard, did well in exams and got a place to study law at university. But the profession still seemed almost impossibly out of reach.
I don't know anyone in corporate law. It's a white middle class dominated profession. There's very, very few, black males. The typical applicant would have went to like a private school. It would be going Oxbridge. And then there's me who, isn't from a great background, doesn't have like much work experience or any sort of corporate insight. I felt like I was, chasing fairies or something, I did make quite a few applications here and there to several firms, but I had quite a few rejections. It didn't seem like I was good enough.
But one of Eniola's tutors noticed his talent and put him forward for a special scholarship scheme that the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust has set up with top city law firm Freshfields Brookhouse Derringer. He beat hundreds of applicants for a coveted place.
It felt like this was it. I finally, the dream is no longer a dream. I can really get started now and build on my career.
As well as financial support, the scholarship involves valuable placement at one of the best law firms during university study breaks. And scholarship students are also supported in adapting to what can feel like an intimidating new world.
When I started with Freshfields, it was quite difficult because everyone else seemed so different from me. They seemed like they live in a different world. A huge part of the scheme is the mentorship. I get mentored by a partner of the firm. I'm now at a place where that world doesn't seem so distant from me anymore, and I can now sort of jump in between the two quite easily, and I'm quite comfortable doing that.
The networks he builds during the scholarship will support Eniola through the rest of his law degree and beyond.
It's very exciting working at a higher level. There's a huge sense of value because your work is so important and it has such an impact. The trust makes dreams reality, really, because external barriers, they're non-existent now. In fact, now instead of external barriers, I have external doors. So it is pretty much down to me to put in the work. My perspective on the world has changed. It's a life-changing thing, honestly, it is.
You know what I find extraordinary about the Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust is that they allow people to realise their dreams and to smash through barriers. So far, the Trust has helped over 1,500 individuals, an amazing number. And now they're expanding outside architecture into other professions, and so they need your help. The Trust relies entirely on donations to carry on giving young people a chance to realise their full potential. So can I please ask you to give what you can? Please go to the website stephenlawrence.org.uk where you can donate. If you don't have access to the internet, then call 020 8100 2800. And if you can't get through, please keep trying. Or if you'd like to post a donation, please make your cheque payable to Stephen Lawrence Charitable Trust and send it to the Stephen Lawrence Centre, 39 Brookmill Road, London SE8 4HU. And if you want the charity to claim gift aid on your donation, please include an email or postal address so that they can send you a gift aid form. Thank you.